So the afternoon show now is going to be a show that's going to be called Evan and Tiki, Evan Roberts and Tiki Barber. Sean Marash will be one of the producers and also have a third voice on the show. Tommy Lugauer becomes the executive producer, meaning Big Mac is out. But he's going to be all right. Don't worry.
This is a very depressing 15 minutes for Big Mac fans, I'll tell you.
But let me bring Brandon Tierney in here now. And I was moved by what Tiki said. I'm not sure if you heard it when he was just on with us.
I did.
Respecting the relationship you guys built over more than a decade, starting off at the CBS Sports Network first, and how you really kind of helped teach him how to do talk radio and make him understand baseball, a sport he never cared rat's ass about as a kid growing up south of here. And I'm sure this for you is, it's somewhat melancholy because, you're a very good talk shows. You're breaking up a team. Mm-hmm. So he goes to afternoons, and now you're going to get a new partner as well. But first, I just want, before we tell you who the new partner is, just your thoughts on Tiki getting this opportunity and hearing what he said about you and getting emotional while saying it meant a lot, I think.
I certainly, number one, I appreciate it. That goes without saying. I was inwardly getting emotional as well. I think there's a lot going on, so I don't think that, I am a sentimental person, probably sometimes too, to my own detriment.
Only for Don Mattingly.
Yeah, well, and Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullen, a few other, Wesley Walker, even Mickelson before he turned into a lunatic. Listen, Tiki's a great guy. Tiki is a really, really interesting figure in the sense that he was obviously a great player. But the way it ended with the Giants, there was a lot of repairing that needed to be done with him and the fans. And I think when we first started working together, I embraced that. I told him, I'm like, listen, you need to show who you are. You need to let people know whatever's said. Not everybody was saying that clearly, right, but those dissenting voices that, what you're about. And you are about character. You are about a big heart. You are about a lot of intellect. He is a really smart guy. Yep. I think anybody at the station knows that. You have a conversation with Tiki, I think you're going to be a little more informed than before it started. He's a good dude. I didn't necessarily think this was going to happen. I mean, to be totally honest with everybody, nobody, listen, you ruined everything.
It's all your fault, Craig.
Carton, what are you doing here, man? You're flipping.
I have to apologize.
Think about what you've
done.
This
guy's flipping over everybody's life over here. He's going to get millions of bucks. He's leaving us high and dry. By the way, I'm very happy for you as a quick aside. You know that. But, and Tiki and I will do this together as we get closer to the end of our show. But, there's certain points in your life that, like when I was, ironically, I'm back on SNY now with you guys here. When I was initially at SNY doing a show called The Wheelhouse back in the day, me and Scotty Frell, Moose was on it quite a bit. That's where I met my wife, and I was engaged. And I look back to that point, and I'm like, okay, when I had these little snapshots in my timeline, and when both of my children were born, I was partners with Tiki. And those are things, when you're going through fatherhood for the first time and, you've been through it a lot and you've been through it. It's not easy, man. And you got to come in and do a talk show and be entertaining and be sharp and be ready to roll. So, those are just things. And then the conversations about life. I don't think that you sit in a room, if there's any depth to both people, and not converse about really meaningful things, especially during a lot of these tumultuous times within society. Look, a lot of stuff going on when me and Tiki were together, especially nationally when you talked about that stuff more than we would on the fan.
Look,
you know
the
what
reality
I mean?
I'm trying to express to people is that when we do this, and you did it with Joe, Evan, is we actually spend more time with each other as talk show hosts than we do with our family.
A lot of ways.
And that's real. With prepping a show, after a show, appearances, and all the things that come with the job, and that relationship has to be good. Because if it's not, it's cancerous very, very quickly. And I know, Mike and Chris famously didn't talk for over a year. I could never do that. I don't know how you do that. Mm-hmm. And you become part of the other guy's family.
No doubt.
Now, you know about the other guy's kids and their birthdays and, major occurrences in your partner's life. So I'm very respectful of how hard this is for you. And I'm sure for Tiki as well, that for, almost 13 years now, you guys have been by each other's side, on and off the air. And that cannot happen without great respect for one another and ultimately trust in one another. So I'm respectful of the emotions that I'm sure have gone through you over the last couple of weeks. The good news, I think, is that nobody's losing a job. You get to continue on doing the Midday show which I think has been one of the big reasons why the station has become successful again and been very sturdy with all the changes that have gone on, from me leaving mornings to Mike leaving afternoons to 3 different midday shows. And I think the stability has been very important. Your guys in middays led to us being successful. I always have thought that in afternoons. And I think that'll continue with you and your yet to be named partner. But so I think from that standpoint, this is good because no one's getting fired.
Yep.
And radio,
except for Big Mac right now. I mean, he's the one guy who I think may be out.
Right now, Big Mac's out of a job right now. But good news is
Love
coming
C-Mac.
his way.
Love him.
But like I tell people a lot of times, this is an awful business.
It's tough.
It's an awful business. It's very rare for a New York kid like we are, and Evan, you are, to actually be able to make it to WFAN. Evan's a rogue broadcaster that outside of a very small amount of time in D.C. and Maryland on the actual radio, because I don't count Sirius XM.
How can you not count Sirius XM?
This is his only
his
gig.
thing. Come on.
Okay.
This is his only job. Like
Except for the 5 other jobs I
some of
had.
us went to Buffalo and Cleveland and San Francisco.
Detroit and San Francisco.
Yeah.
And
Don't
Allentown,
dismiss me having to do 3 hours on a NASCAR race on a Sunday afternoon
Oh,
once,
jeez.
making up what the hell I saw.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
I mean, Evan was one of 9 guys on the Maxim radio show. Anyway, that fan is a special place.
No doubt.
For
It's the
guys
best.
like us who
It's
want to
number
be in
one.
radio, right? So
Yep.
I think the upshot of this is that everyone gets to stay, which I think is great. And there'll be other guys that are now getting opportunities. And for you to be having to learn the cadences of a new guy, a new partner, and on the fly making it work. And I've no doubt that you guys will make it work. So let me bring in that new partner, if I may.
Let's go.
And,
So before he comes in,
Yeah.
you happy about this new partner?
No.
Now,
Before you
Yeah.
introduce him,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I will say this. So when I was made aware of this, whenever it was in Spike's office, there was one name that came to mind, and I think for a lot of people, it's the opposite of what they think would work. Now it's up to us to we're going to make it work, okay?
doubt.
But I think on the surface, most people think that I would never thought, or I would not have thought that it would be this guy,
Right.
or that I would even want to work with this guy.
Sure.
We've never been connected, except maybe in an adversarial way by a few. I'm pumped, man. I think this is going to be
So this is-
absolutely. I'm not saying I made the call.
No, but
I'm
I'm
not saying that.
I'm not saying that,
But
but
when I said to myself,
this wasn't forced upon you. You're like pretty happy.
absolutely,
The way it was forced upon me. I'm just kidding.
there was one name. Now, there were others who I thought were very talented, but there was one guy said, if we don't kill each other first and we make this thing work, it's going to be must-listen explosions every day. Bring him in.
Agree.
Let's roll.
I think that's going to be for you guys to figure out, because you're both very good alone. You're both good with partners as well. And it'll take all of a week for you guys to figure it out. And I'm sure the first week you'll talk over each other a little bit and yell and scream, and then you'll find a really happy place.
Yeah.
But I think it will work. So let me bring in the new co-host of the Midday Show, Sal Licata.
Sally boy.
All right.
There he is.
So now, Sal, good afternoon and congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, Craig. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's we all have our own kind of backstories. I don't want to delve into this too deep, but your rise kind of from the ashes at WFN specifically is a story that should be told. And without getting into all the specifics, we don't need to do that. There was a point in time 13 years ago where nobody wanted to see you around this building. And it was going to be very hard for you to get back into this building.
I got a specific call saying, don't come in today. That was almost 13 years to the
You
day.
and Sid are the only 2 guys that ever got that call.
You didn't even get that call, huh?
No, I made the call. No, but listen. It's a testament to hard work and a desire to do the right way and get back and be patient. And it's hard to be patient, man. So first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's well earned. It's deserved. You've done it overnights here the last couple years. It's not easy.
I
No,
believe
you've called him
somebody-
the greatest overnight host of all time.
I did.
That's your
Did you give that
words.
to him?
I did.
Wow.
Didn't you ever do overnights for a little bit?
You're better than me. Listen, I argue.
That's right.
I have no argument about me. My argument is, and BT's going to kind of wink at me and say, I'm right, it's Joe Big.
I get it.
You're
No, I
number
get it. I get
two.
it.
You're a
Big.
good number 2, though.
Like, I think in the I've said this before, in the history of radio, the best night host in the history of sports talk radio is Scott Farrell. And I don't think, for me, that's not
He
for
changed
debate.
the medium. He definitely did, Scott.
I think as a nighttime
Yeah.
host, he is the guy all other nighttime guys should be compared to. And for an overnight guy who obviously aspired to do more, I'm sure there were days it was hard to do it.
Very hard.
Because you think you're good at what you do, and you're waiting for that opportunity.
Well, this is a
which
man
now
who I
you're
think
getting.
quit on the air a couple of times because the overnight was.
Yeah, and when I said that, I was legitimately looking up saying, all right, who's taking over? Because I'm out of here. I got a TV show. I don't need this stuff. But with the grueling schedule, you need to do both because I love both jobs that I have, radio and
SNY
TV.
doing the Met stuff, right?
but doing the overnight on top of it, not to mention my wife and daughter, it's a lot, but this was always my first love. This is the greatest day of my life, including getting married or having a baby. This is it.
Oh, boy.
Getting the call up to the big leagues. This is true. And I know she's watching. She'll understand it. Hey, I don't care. I put 20 years in for this. I've only been married for 7 years. This is a lot harder.
You got more time in this than you do in your relationship.
That's right.
I'm sure she's very proud of you.
Yeah,
very
right.
happy for
Right
you.
now,
She'll
very
like the
mad.
bump in salary. She'll like that, right?
I'll tell you this: when you get home, you better bring some flowers. Yeah.
Now, are you doing TV too? Are you going to keep doing both?
Yes, I am. Of course, Baseball Night in New York. I'm actually on in a little while, 6
Look at
o'clock
you.
on SNY, so we'll do that. Maybe some sports that I'm not sure yet. I got to iron that out.
Is there a name of the show yet?
Yeah, did they? I
Brandon
don't
and
think-
Sal, Tierney and Licata.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know the
I
exact
thought it was
name.
just going to be the names. I don't even care
Yeah.
what the name is. Just hit the music. Although I do have some ideas for an opening song, BT.
like
Well,
we
we're
can
gonna have
talk
to
about
discuss
that.
this off the air.
Hit the
We gotta
music.
get these guys
Hit the
out of
music.
here.
Put the mics on. Let's go,
I'll
baby.
tell you,
I'm ready.
You nailed it, and that's what's good. That you nailed it, dude. Just open up the microphones.
Let's go.
When I think about the and again, there's gonna be stepping on each other,
100%.
figuring. There's no doubt that's a given. First week will be all over the map. Not gonna say it's gonna be a train wreck because I don't think it will be a train wreck.
No.
But we will be fired up, and we will probably be too fired up. Once we learn each other, I told him this off the air, I'll say it on the air. Once we learn to trust each other, once you know that once he knows I've got his back, and I know that he's got mine, then you could just come out and you could be you. And when that happens, this show is gonna rock.
It's gonna be
This is
great,
a show
no doubt.
you're gonna have to listen to. It's
No
gonna be
doubt.
fireworks every day. I think in a lot of ways, old school FAN.
Yeah, I'm trying
Craziness.
to think in my head, is it better for you guys for the Mets to implode or the Yankees implode?
Well,
because either way, it's kind of like a win.
Both implode.
Well, there's more Yankee fans, so
Yeah,
just
there
based on the numbers, probably the Yankees implode because that's when they react more.
But I can envision. I hear the show in my head already. The lamenting of a bad loss, a Met loss,
Oh, yeah.
or the little poking about a Yankee loss, or vice versa, when things are going.
100%.
And one thing, Sal,
100%.
because I know you don't hate the Yankees. I think
No, I
Sal's
don't.
always been fair to the Yankees.
Well, no, not always. 15-year-old,
I
20-year-old
agree.
Sal hated the
By
Yankees.
way,
I don't anymore.
Me too. Here's the difference. Give it a couple of weeks. You'll hate the Yankees.
Wait a minute, so hold on. So by you not saying that I don't hate the Mets, or are you just obscuring?
Oh, no.
Do you think I hate the
don't
Mets?
think you hate the
Okay.
Mets, but let me finish.
Yes.
Give that a few weeks and you'll start hating the Mets.
Play the Mets song, C-Mac.
Yeah, right.
Let's
funny.
go, Mets, go.
Evan Roy Moore has always said that it's the Met fans hate Yankee fans. Yankee fans don't give a rat's ass about
Because
Met
we're
fans.
not jealous
typically.
of
Yeah, no,
them.
should they?
But
Right.
it's fan to fan. It's not like you don't hate the Yankees. You hate the obnoxious fans that rub it into your face.
And that's
about
why.
27.
And that's why, Craig, if the Mets continue to suck and the Yankees figure it out and make the playoffs, which they probably will, Sal will start to hate the Yankee fan again.
I hope
and
so.
it will happen quickly, and it'll feel like it's 15 years ago, bro.
Coming off the overnights, honestly, it's hard to imagine at this particular point hating anything. Life is great. Are you kidding me? You know what? No more of those viral rants, yelling at callers. I don't care. I'm happy. BT, I'm sure we'll have disagreements along the way. That'll be fun. But this is the greatest day ever.
I'm looking forward to one of those rants, and I just sit back and I say, instead of seeing it on a clip, I say, look at this nut job. He's 2 feet away from me. He's
BT,
a lunatic,
let me
and
just
I
tell
love
one
it.
quick story.
Yeah.
First time we ever worked together. I've
Okay.
told the story before on the air. This
Okay.
is 13 years ago at SNY. I just gotten fired by FAN. SNY took a chance on me, thankfully, and I was working with BT on the Wheelhouse, and we were separated 2 different studios. So now I'm young, like, oh my God, this is my life. BT comes in, and it was his show. You and Moose were doing the show.
Yeah.
All right, Licata, we could do this the easy way or the hard way. he joined me. He joined me because then I was like, oh, all right. Now,
I'm such an
BT,
ass.
we could do this the easy way.
Oh, 13 years he waited. He waited 13 years to say that.
And you're right. We've talked about this off the air.
Yeah.
We've both evolved
No
from then.
question.
It's
You have
totally
to.
different. So you're right. Trust, respect, all that different stuff. And we're arguing sports,
Yeah.
not each other.
Yeah.
I don't care about the name, ego, none of that. Money doesn't mean anything to me. I want to entertain and have fun doing it. And be number one. I want to do things with Midday that has never been done before.
That's a given. And you said it, but I want to say it because radio is hard, man. I mean, you want to be a lawyer, go to law school. Want to be a doctor? Go to medical school. You want to be a radio host? There's no roadmap.
No.
I mean, you had 5 stops. I had 3, 4 stops. You had no stops. You got lucky, I guess. But and you had completely different stops and a completely different path. It's very unpredictable. So for you, and we were talking the other day, when we actually found out it was 13 years to the day
Right.
Oh, is that
when
right?
they told you to literally leave the building. And you said something popped up on your phone, some member or an article, something popped up and it was to the day. So for you to keep scrapping, and this is why the show's going to work, because deep down we're both scrappers, but we're finally mature enough to I think if this is 10 years ago, I don't know that 5 years ago, I don't think it would have worked out.
Right.
You deserve this.
I
Aside from the
appreciate
fact that we're working together, I've liked you on SNY. Think you got a ton of talent. Think you got balls. I know you have energy. I think it's you deserve to be back in this kind of spot.
I appreciate that very much. One of the most important things to me was the respect of my peers from day one. And to be able to have that from you, Craig, to say that, obviously you and I have never been close because I worked on the Francesca show. There were issues there, whatever, that were never personal, but whatever, there were issues. But to have you compliment me for my on-air work, or for you, BT, or Evan, I know you say you listen, things like that, that means the most to me. So I want to just continue to work hard.
Day, I don't know about you guys. I think I do, but I don't know for sure. Like, I'm a radio geek. I love radio, which is why leaving is so hard. But I also appreciate other people who are good at it. A lot of guys in radio these days, I don't listen to any other show. Everybody else sucks. I'm not that guy. Like, if you do a good show, you do a good show. And I think the potential of you guys together is awesome. Even just from an energy standpoint. Like showing up, being ready to go at 10 o'clock and just kicking it out of the speakers, I think that resonates well with New York. And with all due respect to all the other midday shows, most of them have been successful, not all of them, of course. That brings a dynamic to the station that's good. It's easy to get stale in radio, and I think having you guys all like re-energized and learning on the fly, a new partnership, new kind of cadence, new stories to tell and react to. I think it's going to be great across the board. I really do.
And you have completed a great comeback story, because I remember listening on, I don't even remember the radio station.
WOR.
WOR.
When the Mets went there, when I was down in the minors, working my way back.
And I was listening every night, and you were doing great then, and it's great to have you back, and now here.
I think people sometimes just see the end result. They don't see the work that goes into it. Starting as an intern 20 years ago, then having to rebuild back up after getting fired for whatever reasons, and then working your way back up, going to OR. The second time I left on my own to go there because I said, you know what, this is an opportunity, consistent shows. Let me go there and see something. And thankfully, Mark Chernoff let me back in. And thankfully,
I remember when Todd Frazier was lying to you on WOR. He's like guaranteeing he was getting 40 home runs.
What?
Yeah. I remember that.
250, 35, and a hunch. He must have meant over the course of his career, not that one season.
Did you call him out? Did you let him get away with that nonsense?
Frazier.
He's not talking to Evan right now because Evan called the Tampa Bay Rays cheaters.
I heard.
Too bad. I got mad about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a 13-year overnight success, right? I mean, that's what people don't know. But I'm concerned about you because like your jawline's chiseled now. Is this like an Ozempic thing?
No.
Is this like you're busting ass in the gym? Like you are not thick.
Seriously, being healthy.
Not everybody has to eat like an animal like you, Craig.
No, but I also used to be 230 pounds.
He's thin.
Exactly what you don't want to hear on a date. You're not
thick.
You're not
The
thick.
pandemic hurt me.
Good length, though.
Pandemic hurt me, but then I tried to dig my way. With that schedule, doing the overnights, I need to. It was very difficult after the pandemic. I wasn't eating right. I didn't feel energy. And you're doing a show, falling asleep at 3 a.m. It's not good. So I've been eating healthier and working out over the last 6 months or so.
Well,
so I
look
feel
good.
much better. Thank you.
And Pete Hoffman will be producing the show, right?
Love him. Love Hoff.
He's
Still
not
with us.
thin,
Big part of the
He's
show.
not thin.
Yeah.
Whatever you lost, he found.
What about Dove? We keeping Dove around
We're
again?
going to keep Dove around. He's a staple of
Dove's
that.
got a lifetime contract. So, all right, July 24th.
Yep.
We don't have an official name for the show yet, but it's Brandon Tierney and Sal Licata. And I legitimately wish you guys the very best. If I can be a resource at any point, you guys have my number. But I'll be rooting for you guys and listening and hoping that everything goes great. So good luck and congratulations.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, buddy.
All
We'll
good.
wax poetic more about you when, your last day, but it needs to be said.
Thank you.
You've been great to us, man.
Man,
And
all
you're a good dude. You are a
BT's leaving. You don't have to kiss his ass anymore.
No, he
Right.
really is.
Come on.
And more. Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, we got the Joe. We're good. We're still here. No, you're a great radio talent, and the station's gonna really miss you.